We're here today because we have identified the first presumptive positive case of coronavirus in Michigan.
I think when that first news came, there was a lot of questions. There was so much that we didn't know. We didn't know if we would have enough PPE. We didn't know how we were going to treat patients. That there was more questions than answers.
Prior to the vaccine, it was definitely a worry to go into the room.
We changed our scrubs. I had clothes separated, so just at the hospital. Didn't bring any scrubs home, changed my shoes.
Going in and just doing medications and getting out as quick as you could because you didn't know what was going to get around. Eye cavities, we have all the PPE, but there's still vulnerabilities.
Are all 5 of you vaccinated? I would
Yes,
assume?
absolutely.
Right.
Emphatic yes. The vaccine was a huge win for all of us at the hospital. I mean, we had just spent the last month or two just drowning in COVID patients.
I had posted some stuff on Facebook about coronavirus and how dangerous it was and how we're struggling with it. And so the head of HR came to me and said, I've seen your post, would you mind, we'll do a little kind of promo about, having a physician being the first person at Michigan West to get the vaccine. And I said, absolutely.
For myself, I could not justify a side effect or an adverse effect in any way because of the people that I would be exposing by my exposure from my
Yes.
job.
Yeah.
So I felt it was my duty to absolutely get vaccinated.
People know what you do, and you get both sides. Like ones that you would think that want to talk to you about it, they're like, "Oh, we're not going to talk to you," because we're almost presuming that I'm going to be forceful and tell them what they have to do. And then others that really do want to know and would ask my opinion or what I was seeing.
The biggest part of medicine for me is empathy and just trying to understand, where people are coming from, putting myself in their shoes and just kind of seeing things from their point of view. I think for us, it's really easy to see a vaccine come out and be like, yeah, I need to get that. Yeah, I need to keep other people safe, because my life experiences are, I've seen people die. I've seen the terror in someone's eyes when I go to intubate them. I've watched people call their loved ones to say goodbye for what's likely the last time. That was something I was seeing every day. So when a vaccine comes out for me, I think of those experiences. And it's clear, and I have the science background where I can look at the data and I can make a really wise decision of getting vaccinated, right? But not everyone has those backgrounds, not everyone has those experiences.
It's really hard because we're trying to take care of their family member who made their own decisions for themselves, but yet this other family member is just harassing us and yelling at us and berating us that we're killing their family member.
I was called to the emergency room to evaluate a 50-year-old who came with COVID and was on high levels of oxygen. He was sick enough where they called it, because usually they would go to the floor first, but in this particular instance, the patient was sick enough where he needed to come to the ICU. And I walked in the room, and there was a patient, he was 50 years old, otherwise healthy, had a little diabetes. Him and his wife were in the ER room, and I asked, are you vaccinated? And he said no, and as soon as he said that, his wife kind of stood up and looked at me and said, and we're not going to. And I'm like, okay, I'm just asked a question, I need to, whatever. Brought the patient to the ICU. 3 days later, he deteriorated rapidly to the point where he needed intubation. His wife wasn't there because they weren't allowing patients or families to come and visit. I had the nurse say, get his cell phone, have him call his wife, because I'm pretty sure this may be the last time he's going to talk to her. So he's on the phone. We're prepping to intubate him in the ICU. The nurses are getting all the equipment, the ventilator ready. He's on his phone with his wife, and I said, sir, if there's one thing you can do right now, I don't care about your politics. I don't care why you didn't get vaccinated. But if there's one thing you can do right now, please tell your family to get vaccinated. Please. He did not. He hung up. We intubated him, and unfortunately, he died a week later. I mean, it was that's how strongly they feel about not getting vaccinated. It was horrible. It was, I said, please, just tell your family, and he wouldn't do it.
When the ER gets overloaded, everything backs up. And it usually is a result of the hospital being full. So, you know, the more patients that are admitted with COVID, the harder it is to find a bed for a patient in the ER. And now the ER nurses and the docs are taking care of those patients longer. And so normally I would pick up patients and they would go up to the floor, they'd go home, and I'd keep like a solid number on my list. But with the hospital full, your list just builds and builds and builds. So now instead of taking care of 10 patients at once, you have 20 patients on your list.
It impacts our care where maybe we just see if they're just on the oxygen, we check them maybe once during the shift. Now we're checking them 3-4 times during the shift or more depending on what their acuity is on their sickness, with their disease process. And we covered everything, emergency rooms, ICUs, on the floors. We're not limited to one area.
When you're looking in the eyes of patients who are scared, can't breathe, you're trying to give them the hope and you're giving that, so you're just giving everything you have day after day. You carry those people, those memories of all those ones that you lost because you knew their story. As a bedside nurse, I knew their stories, I knew their families, and then maybe we sent them off to ICU, and so you hang on to those. So there was times where I would just go, I think I gotta go to a different department, I gotta leave, I can't do this anymore. And honestly, I had these God moments that just said, hang on, hang in there,
When you come into the emergency room, we're working our tails off. We went into emergency medicine because we love people, we love helping people. We're there to help you, but be kind because we've been through it the last 2 years. Be kind to the people around you, be kind to people who have views different than yours, be understanding. This pandemic's been hard on all of us.